Name's Nate Milton. I'm the school counselor for the incoming class of 2022, and this presentation is to inform parents who weren't able to make the parent transition night for students going from 6th to 7th grade, to give them insight about what we talked about with regard to the transition. So the goal of this presentation is to provide valuable information to families new to the middle level. There is a big shift going from 6th to 7th in that there's a lot more people to interact with, a lot more folks that you need to talk to help your student to learn. So first off, we're going to talk about who to contact. In the case of health concerns, we have two different nurses, Jennifer Norton and Bonnie Weaver. They split their time between LMS and CMS. So you can feel free to call that number, and whichever day that each of those is here, you'd talk to that nurse. There are two required immunizations for 7th grade, the Tdap and the meningococcal vaccinations. In the case of classroom concerns, please contact the teacher directly. And the way that you can access email is it's the teacher's first name _ last name at hempfieldsd.org. Some of the tricky things is the fact that maybe it'd be, if it's Jennifer, for example, maybe Jen, Jenna, or Jennifer. If you want more specific information, you can go to CMS's webpage and go to directory, and you'll be able to look up each of the different teachers based on last name or first name. Alternatively, you could call the phone number and leave a message that they could get back to you. In the case that you have staff concerns, after you've spoken with a teacher, you can contact the principal, Jim Degg. That's his email address and phone number. If there's behavior issues with students, that would be Assistant Principal Lisa Mumal, and that's her email address and phone number. In the case of social-emotional or concerns about study skills or some of these types of things, please call me. My name's Nate Milton. I'll be the 7th grade counselor for next year, and my email address is nate_milton at hempfieldsd.org, and there's my phone number. As far as attendance is concerned, nothing really changes from the middle school or the elementary to the middle school, except for the fact that students may sign in without the parent or guardian. Okay, so the students can just walk in, go to the main office, and sign in. The 7:10 is when the doors open. The parents may drop off the children at that time, and they will wait either in the auditorium or the gym, wherever it's assigned. For attendance, it's a 3-day window to hand in those excuses. It does need to be a written excuse. If a student forgets, feel free to just call. In the case that you know that a student will be missing school because of a vacation or some other upcoming activity, there is a pre-approved absence form that you can obtain from the office. It requires Mr. Degg's approval. If you come to pick up your child, just as in the elementary school, you're required to have ID to confirm that, and only a parent or guardian or contact listed in Sapphire will be able to sign their student out. If there's an extended absence, please feel free to use Sapphire or the parent portal or Schoology. Schoology is another resource that you can use to identify schoolwork that's pending. You are also able to call the guidance office for us to collect work. Again, only the contacts listed in Sapphire will be able to pick up your child, so they must carry ID with them. In an emergency, we call the parents first, but then if it's urgent, we'll call each of the contacts listed in Sapphire. We have a positive school-wide behavior plan, and that includes this acronym that we use, CMS, to stand for Choose to be Safe, Make Responsible Decisions, and Show Respect. You will see this a lot with your incoming 7th graders. We try to hit this home. Those are the 3 overarching expectations that we have for all students. And this also plays into our positive behavior plan, where we give recognition, little high fives to students who are demonstrating these characteristics, which they can earn special privileges. Our focus here at CMS is to prevent incidences and that students can learn from their mistakes. Those are the 2 major things that we want, that if they do make a mistake, that they don't do it again. We have several ways to report incidences, including an incident report form. The biggest challenge for most students is that unstructured time in the bus, hallways, cafeteria. We do have cameras that facilitate us investigating if we need to. Those cameras are located in the entrances, hallways, and cafeteria. Um, if you wanted to see what discipline or grades are for your child, you can check the parent portal. Our dress code. Uh, all students must be clothed or covered from armpit to armpit down to mid-thigh. Should be no cleavage. Torsos, undergarments, or upper thighs should be showing. Straps should be at least 3 fingers wide, and it should not advertise alcohol, firearms, or tobacco. This isn't much of a change from elementary school. For PE, we don't have a specific uniform. The expectation is black shorts with a white, black, or red t-shirt, and these are Hempfield colors. Student daily life. So what is it like for students when they first get here? There are some changes. First off, the curriculum. All students will take full year-long courses in strategic literacy, English, math, life science, and world history. And especially the life science and world history, these are changes from last year. Last year it was just a limited period of time, whereas this year it will be a full year course. There are also levels at the middle school. The students or the teachers from the elementary school make those recommendations for where they would suspect a student would thrive. We also have an elective wheel. All students will have the chance to take every single one of these classes that are offered at varied points, amounts of time throughout the school year. So there's PE, computer applications, technology education, that's like wood shop or metal shop, art, music, health, and family and consumer science. Once again, all students will have the chance to participate in each of those classes over the course of the school year. This is an example of a schedule that you might receive in the summertime. The main things to note, it looks a bit confusing, but the main things to note is the fact that across the top we have a 6-day cycle. So each of the days is listed: day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. Then across the left-hand side, or down the left-hand side, is the periods. So you have homeroom, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then there is also a flex time. The thing on the left-hand side that might confuse you is that there's letters. There's A, B, and C. Each of those essentially is a lunchtime. Every student would receive one lunch. So in this case, the student receives an A lunch. And then the other lunch periods, B and C, they have classes. So that's 4B and 5C. So that's the way to read that. That flex time, we really encourage students to use that time wisely to complete homework or to meet with teachers if they had a misunderstanding or didn't catch a concept in class. That is not required for them to do that, but we highly encourage them to. Also during flex, students who are involved in chorus or band or the gifted seminars take those during the flex period. One last note, for incoming students in the first day of school, you only have to focus on what students have during that first quarter. So focus, in this case, it's computer applications and exploring technology 7. Both of those classes are offered in that first quarter, so that's all you have to worry about. And then as the schedule plays out over the course of the school year, these other classes will come, but it's a lot easier to navigate if you just focus on the essential information for that first day. If you wanted more information about scheduling or how to read this, I've created another video that you can watch with more details. As far as teaming, we have 2 different teams, the scribes and the knights. Students who are on either of these teams will have the chance to interact with the students who are on the other team. So if your child has a friend who's been assigned to the knights, but your son or daughter is on the scribes, don't worry. They will have a chance to interact during lunches, during the elective wheel, in the hallways. There will be a lot of opportunities too. There are also some joint assemblies. All of these opportunities will give students to keep in contact with their friends, plus the fact that they have lots of time after school and outside of school to interact. There's an opportunity for students to get to know a lot more people and to begin to build connections outside of their elementary school. We have a lot of tips on how to transition your child successfully to Centerville Middle School. The first thing I'm doing is I'm delivering a transition lesson at all elementary schools. So far, as of April 5th, I've done all elementary schools except for East Petersburg, which will take place in May. And in these lessons, I'm emphasizing the value of practice And I'm giving some very simple strategies that every student can use to thrive. Simple things like breathing to calm themselves down, especially for that first day. And we talk about choosing their friends wisely. If you want to check out more of that lesson of what I've delivered, it's actually accessible on the Centerville Guidance blog page. Some things that you can be reinforcing at home, these are going to be things that students in 7th and 8th grade will be dealing with a lot. So the first thing is self-advocacy skills. All students at this point need to be learning how to ask the teacher questions, how to identify when they're not understanding a concept and be able to follow up and get that information that they need. We'd encourage you to reinforce that at home. So if your child is absent for a day, for example, you could encourage your child to send the email to the teacher requesting work or requesting to know what they missed that day. That's just one example of something that you can do at home to start giving a little bit more independence and building those expectations. Another challenge that many students face is time management. There's going to be a lot more opportunities to do a variety of things like extracurricular activities, and even with that flex time, students who are involved in band, orchestra, or the gifted program will have less time to complete their homework. And so it's really important that students begin to learn how to manage their time and complete homework in a timely fashion. Organization is another challenge for many students. We encourage all CMS students to use a binder and also to use a planner. We don't require these things, but it's highly encouraged. Every student needs to find an organization strategy that they can use that can help them to succeed. It might not look like what parents would expect, but if it works for the child, then we'd encourage you to just let them sort of play it out and see how it goes. The final piece is social relationships change a great deal in middle school. So students that have had friends that they've been with for 6 years might start to change based on interests or based on just different factors. So that's a challenge for many students. It's a developmental skill that is natural for students in middle school. One piece that makes it more complex is social media and the fact that social media can compound the issue. First off, we would encourage you to limit the amount of social media that your student has access to. And that would include making a cutoff time each evening where students would no longer have access to their phone or no longer have access to the internet. We'd really encourage you to do that. Another thing that if you see concerns in social media that there are worrying or concerning posts that you see, we encourage you to take a screenshot of that information so that you can share that as evidence. If there are factors that happen outside of school in the community, we wouldn't necessarily be able to address that here at Centerville, but if it happens on school property or within the school hours or is affecting the educational process, we can follow up on that. Many students are concerned about lockers and the locks as they transition to middle school. Parents do not have to buy a lock for student lockers. Just like this picture shows, the lock is actually built into the locker itself. However, having said that, in my transition lessons, I've gone to each of the elementary schools and provided students with the opportunity to practice a lock, so that they are less anxious on that first day of school. If you happen to have one of these combination locks lying around the house, or if you go out and buy one, it can really help to assuage some of the students' concerns as they go into the first day of school, just to practice a bit over the summer. That first day of school, we will do a lot. We will make sure to be taking care of your son or daughter. We'll have an extended homeroom. We found that this has helped to ease students into the process and set some of their anxieties at rest. In that first day, we'll go over the student schedule, locker assignment combination. We'll tour the entire building and give out student planners, including rules and regulations. Also on that first day, you can expect to receive a ton of papers that will go home with your child. Those papers will include the emergency card. The free and reduced application is actually no longer being distributed. It's actually online at easymealapp.com, so you would need to do that. There'd also be a paper about taking medication, you can contact the nurse about that. Um, a parent volunteer form. If you're interested in volunteering, we'd love to have you. You do have to have your clearances and to fill out that form. And finally, an excuse card booklet. There are a ton of activities that students can get involved in. We would love to see every single Centerville student involved in some type of activity. It builds opportunities for connections with other students, expands some interest, and gives students a sense of success where they're at. There's a lot of different opportunities. I won't go over each one of them here, but you can access them on the Centerville website as they come. They'll be on the announcements which appear on the Centerville website. Finally, about athletics, we have school-sponsored physicals that take place June 1st and 2nd. That's this year in the Franklin Gym. That's something that you could take advantage of if you wanted to, so that that's completed for the next school year. You want to turn that into the athletic office as soon as possible, and these physicals will cover students for all sports throughout the course of the year. The present activity fee is $50, and the first day of fall sports is Monday, August 22nd. We will be running school tours on grade 6 visitation days, the May 9, 10, 11, and 12. Students will be coming on from Mountville, Rohrstown, Centerville, and East Petersburg. We'll give them a tour. They'll get a chance to see what it looks like when the classes change, and hopefully be able to ease some of their concerns about that transition. In the summertime, we'd really encourage you to bring your students either to one of these times or both of them. August 9 from 10 to 11:30 and August 16th from 6 to 7:30. There'll be student guides and parents are welcome. So I hope this gives you some information about the transition for students. If you have questions, feel free to call me or either of the principals. Thanks so much.